Hi, and welcome to this Flipdish podcast. Today we're doing a staff spotlight, and I'm joined by Jakub. Jakub, thank you so much for joining me. I didn't attempt your surname there because I know I'd absolutely butcher it. So could you do your full name, please, and your job title here at Flipdish?
First of all, yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and I don't blame you. My surname is very Polish and very long. So my name is Jakub Gradman, and I'm a product manager at Flipdish.
Great. Well, thank you for doing that for me, so I didn't absolutely embarrass myself. We brought you in here obviously because you've got a really interesting career journey over the last 10 years or whatever. We'd love to hear just kind of your background. What did you do before Flipdish? How did you find yourself here? Like, tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Cool. Yeah. So I joined Flipdish at around 2022, and originally I joined not only as an engineer but also as a contractor. And I always tell people this story because in my first week of the job, when I realized that this is a big company, and I always worked in startups before, it's a big company, a lot of really smart people, a lot of tech was really much bigger than I expected, the whole stack. I remember that I thought, I'm not going to make it past 2 weeks. Like, there's no way. So I kind of figured, let's give it a go. And I've been here ever since. And yeah, so that's how it started. Before Flipdish, I worked, as I previously said, for a small startup. It was a London-based tech startup. We did an app that read sleep stories for kids. It's really interesting. The company also won the BAFTA at some point, so that was great.
For sleep stories?
Yeah, for the whole app, yeah. So that was really fun. And then before that, even further, I actually had not much experience with tech or IT in general because I used to work in art full time. So I worked as a musician and then as a photographer. So that was quite a surprising turn around for the whole career thing. Yeah,
I've done that as well. That move from the music and creative world into maybe a tech space. Yeah. Definitely found it difficult or jarring at the time. How did you find that going from, well, not saying tech is not creative, but like going from that uber creative space into tech? Like, did you struggle with that?
You know what? So obviously, because we talked about it, and I know that you're a musician as well. Music doesn't really pay all that well a lot of times. So it was mostly for me, I need to just get a job that just so I can, pay my bills. And initially I was mortified because I had no idea. I wasn't always interested in tech. That was my second passion. I would always follow the news, all the gadgets, video games, stuff like that. But I had no hands-on experience. And then once I started working in tech, I actually realized that I really like it. I didn't expect it. But what I ended up realizing was that for some reason I thought that working in that space kind of activates the same sort of spaces in my brain that doing music or other arts did. I think it can be as creative if you approach it that way as any other job, because at the end of the day, it's all about solving problems.
Absolutely. Yeah, I found the exact same thing, that creative, I don't know, that itch that needed to be scratched that I just was so important to me. I thought, this is definitely gone now when I moved. And there was almost an embarrassment telling people that I'd given up that kind of music dream and moved into like this space. But then, like you said, I kind of approached it from this can be, once I kind of moved into the learning world that I'm in now, it was like building training sessions. It's like putting a song together. It's like, you want to keep people interested, engaged, all of the kind of same things. You do get up in front of people. It's a little bit of a performance. There needs to be a bit of humor. There needs to be all this kind of, it needs to be paced well. And I started to think of it like, this is kind of like putting on a bit of a show or a gig. And I just started to enjoy that. And then the kind of rewarding element of seeing how people like enjoy that. So yeah, moving into tech at first I was like, don't know about this, but it really became a passion then for me as well, which I feel very lucky about, because I don't think everyone who makes that move from I need something that pays from their passion is always as easy.
Yeah, no, at first you think you're like betraying yourself. It's a heartbreak, but then you realize, no, not really. And you can find other things that are fun. And for me, I guess, because you said that it reminded me of putting on a show. As a musician, I didn't do much of the show stuff. I was more in the production and composing. And I realized that engineering was really similar. You just try to make things work together. And yeah, so that was the moment for me. I think I can do it.
Yeah, if you find your passion, so yeah, you can make anything work. So your time in Flipdish, then,
Yeah.
what was your kind of first like initial reaction to the company? Like, what was your first thought when you started working here, and
Yeah.
like how did you, and how has it changed since then?
So at first, it was much bigger than anywhere else I've ever worked.
How many employees were here when you joined?
Easily around at least 300, I think.
Wow, okay, yeah.
300, yeah. And again, I went right from a startup that did just one app, and it was around 50 people working there. So it was a huge difference. But what I found out quickly after I went through that initial first 2 weeks of just being
Scared.
literally scared, yeah, I realized that everyone is here kind of to help you. And that was incredible. I never experienced, I don't want to say, I don't want to be unfair to my previous workspace, but I never experienced that on such a scale where you can reach out to anyone regardless of their position in the company. I think within the first month, Connor, our CEO, he told me, I reached out, I needed something from him, and he sensed that I was a bit stressed, and he literally told me, just write to me like I'm your coworker, because that's who I am. And that was the first thing I realized, okay, that's pretty great.
Yeah. It really is the difference between going to one of those companies where the CEO sits on the 100th floor of the building and you don't have access to that floor, to he sits over there, and you can just go over and chat to him or whatever. It's nice, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I do enjoy that, and the fact that they're kind of so hands on, and everyone does try and help out where they can. I think that idea of we're all working towards the same thing. So if you're struggling, even though you might not be in my space, it is in my interest as well, because we all have this shared goal. I want to help you out, because what you do also impacts me and the company and everything as well.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's like a really nice thing about the way Flipdish works. Any big kind of monumental achievements or anything that you saw during your time here? Anything that like you loved or that you kind of achieved in that time?
So the first one was, there was a couple of them.
Oh.
I was like, there goes my modesty.
Yeah.
The first one was because I started as a contractor, and then really, I think 3 months later, I've been told, listen, would you like to join us permanently? I was like, man, that's coming from someone who thought he's going to get fired in the first 2 weeks of that. I was like, that was great. And then when I transitioned from more of the engineering role into product and management, I never expected that either before, like in the past in my life. So that was great. But I think the biggest one was the Project Aura, which are next generation mobile apps, which are still not out, but we're working on it, because I actually pushed the idea for that project for something really similar in one of my first job interviews back in 2022. So even before I started Flipdish, I already had an idea, maybe that could help the company. And to go through months and then years of like thorough research and long conversations and trying to get it up and running, and then eventually getting it approved, getting a team, that feels great. And now we're a bit, more than a month away from the official release from that. And that I think, I wouldn't know. But I think this is as close as I ever felt to having a baby, probably. So yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. And can you, for me, outside of the tech space, or like with your level of understanding of how everything works, what is that project, or what impact is that gonna have on our?
Yeah. So basically, we've chosen to redo our mobile apps in a completely new to the company, not because it's been around in general. And what that gives us is much more flexibility in the sense of what our clients, how fast they can get their updates, how much they can customize their apps. But it's also a much better experience for the company, for everyone who works, because right now it's quite a operational challenge with our native apps. It's just the nature of the tech itself. Not many companies choose to use that specific technology for such we have a couple thousand applications live. So being able to get rid of those operational issues will ultimately lead in much easier development, design, quicker updates. It's gonna improve, lives of everyone who's using our apps, both in the company and our clients and their clients as well.
Okay, so the consumer experience is going to improve.
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing, which is, we love making great tech, but I think the knock-on effect on the consumer and our customers as well is really important, right?
So that's where I mentioned that it took years of our research. That's because you can't just take a decision like that. Oh, that sounds cool, let's do it. No, we made sure to spend months and literally hours-long meetings where we would talk about, is that going to make our clients and consumers experience better, or is it going to make it worse? And we just spent so much time talking between each other, reading research online, talking to our clients as well, doing all sorts of, data analysis to make sure, okay, this is the right choice and this is what ultimately will improve the experience.
Sounds, when you said it sounds like having a baby, that does sound like you've done a lot of planning here, and now you're a month away from like this monumental change.
It's a bit longer than 9 months, but yeah.
So a couple of babies then rolled together.
Sure,
So I think I want to just kind of touch a little bit on Flipdish's culture and things like that. I find it very specific from other companies that I've worked in. I was wondering what your kind of takeaway from the culture of working at Flipdish is like.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's already the one thing I said, which is everyone is here for you. And in return, you are there for them. I think it's just incredible. It doesn't matter where you are and what you do, what position you're at, what department, what's your age. We just all work together to the same goal. And I think there's this genuine feeling of everyone is trying to make someone's life better, which is not that common nowadays in tech. Usually it's just make money.
Yeah.
And here, since day one, I always felt we are on a mission here. We want to actually help people. We want to help those businesses, and so that's the theme that I keep feeling after all these years still.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think also the kind of work ethic amongst the team, I think, is like really interesting, right?
There's some people there, most of them, all of them, but some, to some extent, they're so hardworking and not forced into do it. They just genuinely hardworking people. It's just absolutely stunning to watch.
I find that like really motivating when you see somebody like go above and beyond or do something particularly impressive, that I then am motivated to do that, right? And you know that they're like, no one has been told, oh, you have to do that or you have to be here like extra time. I think one of the things that I like about this is everyone kind of deals with Flipdish as if they set it up. There's that kind of sense of ownership about it. Yeah. And I like that. I know that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are working here now that had businesses before. They know what it takes to do that. And I love that kind of mentality or mindset is in there. Because I think for me, I'm motivated by people who want to go above and beyond, because I also want to do that. So you do it, you see someone else do it, you go, okay, we're all doing it. Where I've definitely worked in places where, I'd be there maybe a bit later in the evening times getting projects finished or whatever, and people just 5 o'clock, boom, laptop out the door. Doesn't matter if the work is done or not, that's it. And there's no kind of thought outside of that. And that's fine. If that's what you want in your job, great. But I love the satisfaction of going above and beyond and then seeing the reward of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And as you said, there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, no one will ever tell you, oh, why do you end at 5? Like, no, that's your contract. You have But other people, they just don't want to do it. They want to keep going and they want to just get things done. And that's incredible.
Yeah, I love that. The whole idea of just wanting to win, I think is so crucial to the way we work, and that's obviously one of our values, which I think is so important. Outside of obviously working really hard, I think we've got a pretty good social culture as well.
Oh, yeah.
Any events you can think of that we did over the last while that that you enjoyed?
A couple of them. There's one we did offsite in Dublin, not in the office, but I think it was called the Johnstown Estate, where at some point someone rented something called a party bus. That was just crazy. That was just, everyone was like looking around and trying to contain themselves because it's so crazy. But then outside of the party bus, it was a time, a company where we had to rethink a lot of things. And I really appreciated that it wasn't kept just to the management. Everyone is invited, and every single person was working towards setting up the goals for the company and could be outspoken about what's wrong, what's great, how do we move on. And I found that, again, really great. And there's one with my previous team, but before I moved on to become a product manager, we went to an offsite to Spain. Just our small team, and that was great as well.
You went to Spain?
Oh, yeah.
Have the company been keeping this from us?
Oh, no. I think you do have a budget. I think everyone does. A team gets a budget. And we kind of figure out, our manager figured out the way to keep it short, like 1 day trip to Spain under the budget for the whole team. I don't know how he figured it out because it's not easy, but he did it. Wow. And yeah, we went to Madrid and spent the night at the house, and then we all came
back the next day.
Yeah. I think it mostly worked out because the manager himself at the time was living in Spain, so it was yeah.
Rather than him traveling, everyone came to him.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely amazing. I have yet to do like a team meeting abroad. That sounds like something I'm gonna pitch to my manager now and be like, "What about Spain?"
Yeah,
July maybe sounds good.
Just don't tell them where you got the idea from.
Yeah, not like this being recorded or anything. So we've obviously done a lot of those fun things. I also like the mix of when we do something fun, there's always kind of a little element of like, here's an update or getting staff involved in how we can improve the business. And then we have like I recently did an engagement session in the UK, and it was just very nice to be kind of brought over there, have time to kind of, spend thinking about how we can improve the company, how people can, would enjoy working here more, which I think is really important. So to see the company investing in that, and then also you have the fun nightlife and going out for dinner and drinks and all that kind of stuff as well, which I think is nice. And like you said, every level of the business involved in that. Everyone has good ideas, right?
Oh yeah, like whatever is happening. I've even since I moved over here, every time there's a company party thing, Connor is always there. Everyone is there. Like everyone, we are all just together.
Yeah, no one's too big to go and hang out with staff or anything like that, which I love as well. And yeah, you're right. The hierarchy feels very flat. Like the kind of org structure feels very flat, and we're not kind of confined to only speaking to the people within our worlds. Yeah. Okay, so I was going to ask as well is, if you were kind of talking to a friend who was looking for a job and, you might be suggesting Flipdish, how would you pitch Flipdish to a friend?
Oh, man. I'd say it might be one of the most exciting workplaces you ever went to. And yeah, that would be probably one thing I'd say. The other one, outside of being exciting, was really enticing. Because just if you look... I can speak from my experience, obviously, but when I look at where my career went with Flipdish and how much I've learned and where I am now versus where I was 3 years ago before, it's just incredible. I never thought that you can go work for a company, like coming from the artist mindset, you can go for the corporation, and then get so much knowledge and such a great career path and all of that. I think that's what I would tell them. Just if you're interested in working in a space that's always really exciting, that there's always a big new project, there's always, you work with a lot of people who are just like you, who want to make things better. And also you are interested in career path, whether that's straight up or to the side or diagonally, or, or you want to stay where you are. It's the place for you.
Yeah, I love that there is so much career progression possibilities here. Like in same with myself, I've kind of, my role has evolved so much. My role has changed somewhat, but just the evolution, the new things that I've taken on. Sure, here we are podcasting, which is nice. There's always kind of a new project, like you said, popping up, which I just think is great. I don't think I've ever been bored in here. It's always like something, because you're always dealing with new problems, new customers, new training sessions that need to be built. I'm lucky I get to travel. I've gone to Karachi in Pakistan to train the team over there, do a lot of stuff back and forth in the UK. It's every day is like, is a little bit different, which I love about that. Yeah. And I love the kind of, you have the option to either move sideways, you can move up, like you said. I think sometimes a change is as good as the rest, as the phrase goes, where it's nice to just switch it up a little bit as well. So yeah, I feel like I've been here 4.5 years now, and I don't have that you know, usually after 3-4 years, you kind of get that lull of, am I doing the same thing? You know, is this really right? But I just haven't got that in Flipdish.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I really like about the career progression thing here, because a lot of time when you work for these companies, so the wording these companies is bad. I guess still the artist thing here. But a lot of time when you work in a more corporate world, there isn't much career progression. There's just, you're hired for a job and you must do that job. And maybe you will get your manager's job one time, but maybe. Whereas here, you get hired as an engineer. And eventually when you realize, you know what, I'm probably better suited to do marketing, you can probably do it. And the other way around, I've seen, just since 2025 started, I've already seen 2 people moving somewhere else or getting promoted, and it's always surprising, like, oh, so that person is doing this now. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And the options are there, and the company want, because they'd rather retain the talent, right? Than you go somewhere else, and even if it means losing you from that role that you might be very good at, if the knowledge is kept within the company, and you know, you can obviously help with handovers and all that, I think they see the benefit of trying to nurture those things, right?
Yeah, I think there's emphasis on putting the right people in the right spot, even if it's not the most obvious at the time.
Yeah, and people know themselves, and people do need a change. I think that's always something that is appreciated here. So, I just want to, as we finish up, I just want to really thank you for, I know you're super, super busy, particularly with your new baby on the way, like the tech baby.
The twins.
Yeah, exactly. So I really want to thank you for taking the time to chat to us today. Really appreciate it. And have a great rest of your week.
Man, thank you so much. It was really fun. I hope to come back one day. I love the ferns as well. It's great.
So you got to be between 2 ferns.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks.